is from Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab. عن أبي حفص عن أمير المؤمنين أبي حفص عمر بن الخطاب قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى فمن كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فمن كانت هجرته لله ورسوله فهجرته إلى الله ورسوله فمن كانت هجرته للدنيا يصيبها أو امرأة ينكحها فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه. رواه الشيخان. This is hadith sahih narrated by Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim. This hadith is said narrated to us by Abu Hafs, Amir al-Mu'mineen, the leader of the believer, Abu Hafs Umar ibn Khattab. Abu Hafs is the nickname, the kunya of Umar ibn Khattab, because he had a daughter named Hafsa. Hafsa is one of the wives of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So by knowing this Abu Hafsin, how many of you heard the story of Umar killing his daughter, burying his daughter alive when he was younger? Any of you heard that story before? Okay, now we know that story is fabricated. How do we know that? Because Hafsa is alive, married the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You take your kunya. The Arab, they will take the kunya by their first child or first son, either or. So I would be known as Abu Sumayyah. So Sumayyah is my first daughter, and Umar ibn Khattab was known as Abu Hafsin because Hafsa was his eldest child. So that story about Umar killing his daughter is a fabricated story by virtue that Hafsa grew up to marry Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Umar ibn Khattab said that he heard Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, verily actions are based on the intentions, and a person gets what he intends for. If someone makes the hijrah, the migration, with the intention of Allah and His Messenger, he will get Allah and His Messenger. And anyone who makes hijrah for worldly intentions or a woman that he intends to marry, then he gets what he wants in that hijrah. And this hadith, as I mentioned, is sahih, narrated by Bukhari and Muslim. So this hadith stresses the importance of intention in everything that we do. And we get what we intend for, we get rewarded for what we intend for. If we intend, we can do the same act, different intentions, you get differently from Allah. That the intention is what separates a normal action and an act of worship. So you can be walking today, hiking. If your intention is you want to be healthy, you want to enjoy the creation of Allah, reminds you of the greatness of Allah, then you get rewarded for it. You can have a side intention. I want to be healthy, I want to be fit, and so on. It doesn't matter. The side intention, you'll get it. But the main intention is for the sake of Allah. Allah will reward you, although it's just a normal hike. And then you can also have someone else who's just hiking with you with no intention for Allah in his mind. All he wants is just to get fit and enjoy the beauty that he can see. And all he gets is that. And when we look at intention, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is probably the most intentional person in everything that he does. He taught us so many different dua. From the moment you wake up until you go to sleep. The moment he opens his eye, there is a dua. He goes to the bathroom, there is a dua. He walks out of the bathroom, there's a dua. He looks into the mirror, there is a dua. Why is there so many dua that were taught by Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam? The idea behind this is for us to not be a robot. Just move automatically without any intention behind it. Mindlessly going through life. And today, unfortunately, that is really easy to slip into. This mindless scrolling and everything, live life without intention. And going hiking actually is a very powerful, mindfulness practice. You have to be intentional in your footsteps. Because if you mindlessly walk, you might trip into something and fall. Usually if it's in the city, it's a safe space. You do whatever you want to do, you walk mindlessly, you listen to a podcast, you listen to a music, you realize that, hang on, I've reached my destination. And even driving today, people drive in the past, you have to be mindful. You need to look where to go. Today you don't have to be mindful because Google Maps will tell you exactly, turn left. So you don't even realize, don't even know where you are unless you know what Google tells you where you are and where to go. So this, and my wife, she's a psychologist. Yeah. So when I speak about psychology stuff, I like it when she's here. So if I go off the tangent, she'll just like, no, that's not. You know, the thing about people being mindless, it leads to a life without purpose, and this leads to depression. And what's interesting is that the more we are comfortable, and objectively we live in probably the best time in human history. Everything we want is just a tap away. We like, it's almost Jannah. You know, when in Jannah Allah says you get whatever you want, and today you get to eat anything you want. Uber Eats, and you don't even have to move. It's delivered at your doorstep. You don't even have to worry about paying because it's afterpay. Worry about it later. You know, like so. But then, subjectively, we're probably in the worst state. The number of depression and suicide is on the rise. Why? Because we lead life mindlessly. This bringing back mindfulness in everything that we do, every step that we take. There is an intention behind what we do. That before we do something, we take a bit of a pause and ask, why am I doing this? What's the objective behind this? What's the reason? Before you open Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, just ask yourself, what am I going to gain out of this? What am I going to gain out of this scroll? Do not mindlessly scroll. Be mindful in everything that you do. Because with intention, with the right intention, everything becomes an act of worship. So I'm just going to end with this. Maybe no. This is my second last point, probably. When is something considered an intention? In the discussion of fiqh, you will find that you have what you call as khawatir. This is just something that just crossed your mind. That is not counted as an intention yet. And then you have hadithun nafs, a debate within yourself. So for instance, you receive a message last night, someone said, let's go hike. And you go like, should I? So that's not an intention yet. And then you debate with yourself. It's 7:30 in the morning, it's too early, but then it's good for me. That is hadith al-nafs. That's the debate that happens within yourself. And then when you resolve like, all right, I'm going, and you start packing your bag, that is the point of intention. And Rasulullah ﷺ said, a believer who intends to do good, Allah rewards him at his point of intention. And when he does it, he gets the reward multiplied. When he intends to do something bad, there's no sin against him. When he does it, there's one sin. If he chooses not to do it, then he gets a reward for not doing the sin he intended to do. So the difference between intention and just passing thought is that you actually prepare something to do towards what you intend for. So if you intend to wake up for tahajjud, you know, in the passing thought, I want to wake up for tahajjud. But then you set your alarm clock at 6 o'clock in the morning. So that wasn't an intention. That was just a passing thought. You have to, the action that follows it, you must make some preparation before you do that action itself. So the intention gets rewarded. When you actually do it, it multiplies in its reward. So, and the final point now. The final point is turning anything that is normal, that is not specifically an act of worship. You can convert anything in life into an act of worship which Allah will reward. Number one is your intention. The intention is good. So if you are eating, you're playing soccer, anything that you do that is not an act of worship per se, if you do it with good intention, that's the first step. Number two, the act must be halal in itself. So we don't have Robin Hoods in Islam, doing something haram or higher objective. So intention is good, the act is halal, the outcome is halal, and you do not leave any act of worship that is wajib upon you, and you do not do anything haram during it, then that normal act become an act of worship. So I'll take an example of eating. Eating, the intention is you want to eat so that you nourish your body, you can do ibadah, you can obey Allah. The intention is good there. You're eating something that is halal. If you're eating something that is haram, with whatever intention, it still becomes haram. You know, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, you eat a pork, doesn't make it an act of worship. So you're eating something that is halal. You're not mixing anything haram with it. While you're eating, you're not backbiting someone else. And then you're not leaving any act of worship that is wajib. You're not eating past Maghrib time. That happens sometimes in Ramadan. So iftar, you stop for, you don't miss your prayers. Then that act, although it's a common act of life, it's just eating, it's not salah, it's not fasting, it's not zakat, it's not charity. You're eating. You need to do it. But you do it with the right steps, it turns into an act of ibadah. With that in mind, you can turn everything in life into an act of ibadah. Even you're watching TV, spending time with your family, you can turn it into an act of ibadah. You're walking, hiking this morning, you can turn it into an act of ibadah. Alright, so that is hadith number 1. Inshallah, we meet Next month, hadith number 2. Allahu Alam. We'll see when Ayah finds a trail for us. That would feed 200 people.